الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا وحبيبنا محمد رسول رب العالمين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. Oh Allah, teach us what benefit us, increase us in knowledge, in good morals and in good deeds, Ya Rahman Rahim. In these 15 minutes, inshallah, we will continue on the reflections on the lives of the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum wa ardahum, and by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's blessings, this is the khatir number 37 in this series, and we talked about Sayyiduna Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu, then we talked about Sayyida Khadija radiyallahu anha, and now we're talking about Sayyiduna Umar radiyallahu anhu, then we will talk about Sayyida Fatima radiyallahu anha wa ardaha. So we will talk about one man of those greatest men and one woman of those greatest women in our history, and how important it is to really bring our family and our children and make use of these chances to learn about those great people so that we can follow their footsteps, since they are the best of people after the Prophets alayhi salatu wassalam. So we stopped at the participation of Sayyiduna Umar radiyallahu anhu in the life of Sayyiduna Abu Bakr. And today we will start talking about Sayyiduna Umar radiyallahu anhu taking over, and some of the very profound words that Sayyiduna Abu Bakr gave him as a piece of advice, and how Sayyiduna Umar was chosen as a Khalifa for the believers or for the Muslims. Before that, we can take one hadith about the merits of Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu again, that shows us the prophecy of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam about Sayyidina Umar's reign, and that Sayyidina Umar's reign will be a reign of prosperity and stability. And there is more than one hadith. We'll take one hadith today inshallah, and the coming talks we will take more hadith. So Sayyiduna Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he said that I heard Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, as in this hadith in Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, he said, Rasulullah is saying sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Baina ana na'im, when I was sleeping, I saw myself on a well of water. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam now is showing us or telling us a dream that he saw. And we know that the dreams of the Prophets ﷺ are revelations. So they receive revelation sometimes through dreams. So dreams for them are types of revelation. Just like Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, how was he commanded to sacrifice his son Ismail? In the dream, قال يا بني إني أرى في المنام أني أذبحك. Allahu Akbar. I see in the dream that I'm sacrificing you. And subhanAllah, see the certainty of the Prophet ﷺ. In the dream he saw something. In the dream he saw that Allah commanding him to slaughter his own son. He said, yes Allah, I will listen and I will obey. And then listen to the son. قال يا أبت افعل ما تؤمر. Oh father, do whatever you have been commanded to do. Allah Akbar. He did not tell him, oh, come on dad, that's a dream. Subhanallah. We have the book of Allah, we have the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and still some of us, sometimes we turn away. May Allah forgive us. So he said, I saw in the dream that I am at a well, and that well has a bucket. So I used the bucket and I took from the well whatever Allah willed, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he got an amount, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Then he said, ثُمَّ أَخَذَهَا ابْنُ أَبِي قُحَافَةَ. Then the son of Abu Quhafa. Who is the son of Abu Quhafa? Sayyiduna Abu Bakr. Anyone know the name of Sayyidina Abu Bakr? Abdullah. Abdullah ibn, son of Abu Quhafa. What's the name of his father? Abu Quhafa, that's his title. What's his name? Uthman. So Sayyidina Abu Bakr's name is Abdullah, son of Uthman. Abu Quhafa. Abdullah, son of Uthman, Abu Quhafa. So his father's name is Uthman, and his father's title is Abu Quhafa. May Allah be pleased with them both. So then Sayyiduna Abu Bakr took it after the Prophet ﷺ, فَنَزَعَ مِنْهَا ذَنُوبًا أَوْ ذَنُوبَيْن. So he got one or two buckets, وَفِي نَزْلِهِ ضَعْفٍ, and there was like some weakness, he's saying ﷺ, in his taking. وَاللَّهُ يَغْفِرُ لَهُ ضَعْفَهُ, and Allah will forgive him that weakness. Then he said ﷺ, ثُمَّ اسْتَحَالَتْ غَرْبًا, then that bucket turned into a very big bucket. فَأَخَذَهَا ابْنُ الْخَطَّابِ, the son of Al-Khattab, Sayyidina Umar, he took it. فَلَمْ أَرَ عَبْقَرِيًّا مِنَ النَّاسِ يَنْزِعُ نَزْعَ عُمَرْ حَتَّى ضَرَبَ النَّاسُ بِعَطًا. I never saw like a strong man like Umar, who's taking with that big bucket, that small bucket turned into a big bucket. This is how he saw in the dream, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he said, I did not see any person who's taking like Umar until people had stability and prosperity. And that is exactly what happened. So the scholars, they mention about this hadith, which is a dream from the Prophet ﷺ, which is telling the Sahaba that after Sayyiduna Rasulullah ﷺ, who will take over? Sayyiduna Abu Bakr. After him, Sayyiduna Umar. That's what happened. That's what happened exactly. And Sayyiduna Abu Bakr, no doubt, according to Ahlul Sunnah, he is better than Sayyidina Umar. And we mentioned this previously. The best man after prophets is Sayyiduna Abu Bakr. We mentioned this. So what does that mean then? In that Sayyiduna Abu Bakr, he took one or two buckets and there was some weakness. So the scholars, they mentioned that in his reign was short. It was only 2 years, 3 months, 21 days almost. So his reign was weak, was short, and the situation of the Muslims was weak in his reign. Why? That's not because of him, no, because of the hypocrites who appeared in his time, the apostates who turned away from Islam, right? So there was not stability for the Muslims in his reign. Not because of him, no. On the contrary, and we mentioned this in the last talk and in the life of Sayyidina Abu Bakr, that he took one of the greatest and most courageous positions to save Islam when he stood up against those who threatened the state of Islam right after the passing away of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he also took or accepted the suggestion of Sayyidina Umar, as we mentioned last talk, to compile the Quran and preserve the Quran. So Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu did a great job, but he did not persist for a long time. While Sayyidina Umar, for how long he ruled? 10 years. 10 years. So this is what the hadith is mentioning. And really, in his time, the greatest conquests of Islam ever, until this moment, ever, it was in his time. In his time, he took over the Persian Empire. The Persian Empire and big part of the Byzantine or the Roman Empire in the time of Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu. And we will talk about that in more details inshallah later. So this hadith shows the succession and the order of the Khulafa according to the prophecy of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that's what exactly happened. And some scholars, they talk about that Sayyiduna Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he was not as skillful in politics as Sayyiduna Umar radiallahu anhu, and everyone has some special qualities, but still Sayyiduna Abu Bakr definitely, without any doubt, he is the best of the Sahaba radiallahu anhu. And Imam Nawawi is mentioning clearly in his commentary in this hadith that doesn't mean any degradation in the rank of Sayyiduna Umar. No, it is showing the duration of their reign, and it is showing the prosperity in the time of Umar radiallahu anhu, and it doesn't show any sin or any deficiency in Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. And that word, that may Allah forgive him, this is a word that the Muslims, they used to decorate their speech with. Like we tell you, do this, may Allah forgive you. It doesn't mean you did something wrong, but this is, as Imam Nawawi is saying, this is a statement that Muslims used to sometimes decorate their words with. We have another very clear hadith from Sayyida Aisha radiallahu anha, as narrated by Imam Ahmad in this authentic hadith. She said, قُبِضَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم وَلَمْ يَسْتَخْلِفْ أَحَدًا. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away and did not appoint any Khalifa after him. That is agreed upon by all Muslims. Then she says, وَلَوْ كَانَ مُسْتَخْلِفًا أَحَدًا لَاسْتَخْلَفَ أَبَا بَكْرٍ وَعُمَرٍ. If he was to appoint someone to be his successor, it would have been Abu Bakr or Umar. This hadith is authentic according to the conditions of Bukhari and Muslim. So, why are we mentioning this? What's the benefit of this? Well, the benefit of this is that we have to know in Islam, how do we choose the leader as Muslims? How do you choose our leaders? Is it by inheritance? No, not inheritance. Is it like someone imposes his opinion on the rest of the ummah? It's not like this. What is the way of choosing the leader in Islam? If someone asks you, if your friend asks you, a non-Muslim friend tells you, how you Muslims, how you choose your leader if you have a Muslim state? How do you choose your leader? Skills. Taqwa, piety. So it is the people who choose. In Islam, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not specify one way. Sayyidina Abu Bakr, as we will see today, he nominated, if you want to be specific, he nominated Sayyiduna Umar and the Sahaba agreed. So that's one type, nomination. When it comes to Sayyiduna Umar radiallahu anhu, as we will see at the end of his life, what did he do? He chose 6 people of the elite of the Muslims and told them, you guys, you have meetings 3 days, you have to choose one among you as a Khalifa. Then you show this person or this nominee to the Muslims so that they agree or they don't agree. So at the end of the day, the Muslims, the Muslim public, the Muslim people are the ones who choose or who agree on the Khalifa. We don't have in Islam a person who will put his son and his son will put his son and his son will put his son, even though he's unqualified. That's not Islamic. So all of the Umayyad dynasty and the Abbasid dynasty, all of those rulers or Khulafa or whatever, they're not Khulafa in the first place. All of those rulers, they were not chosen in the Islamic way. Of course, we're not saying they're not Muslims. Big difference between the two things. But they were not choosing in the Islam. Now, Saudi Arabia and Kuwait and those so-called Islamic states who claim to apply Sharia, they're not applying Sharia. Is there any doubt in this? Absolutely, they're not applying Sharia in this side. Everyone puts his son, and his son puts his son, or his son puts his nephew, or whatever, and no doubt they're not qualified. Or in the so-called republics, like in Syria or in Egypt, also every person they're not royal like dynasties, but in practice they're just like royal dynasties. So this person, he will put his son, then he's preparing his son. Look at Egypt, look at Syria, look at Libya, everyone was preparing his son, right? Look at Yemen, everyone was preparing his son. So same thing, unfortunately, all the Arab and Muslim countries in general, they are not following the Islamic way. If I look at Turkey, it's absolutely the closest to the Islamic way, because the people chose the one that they think is the best. So that is the Islamic way to choose. So alhamdulillah, Islam did not limit us to a certain way. It is left for the people to choose the best way to choose the Khalifa. Sayyiduna Umar radiallahu anhu, how was he chosen? Of course, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the first place, he did not specify a person. And what happened, we mentioned how Sayyidina Abu Bakr was elected. You can watch the video inshallah. So the point, Sayyidina Abu Bakr was nominated by Sayyidina Umar, and then all of the Sahaba agreed. So there is no dictatorship in Islam. There is no one who can impose himself on the Muslims. No way. This is absolutely un-Islamic. There is no someone who will put his son, as all of those Arab and Muslim countries doing, whether the kingdoms or the republics, they're doing the same thing. In the Sayyidina Abu Bakr, now he did the same thing. He nominated Sayyiduna Umar and he told the Sahaba, and the Sahaba agreed. So he put him, and Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, he's telling us, when he passed away, he said, if I appoint someone, then there is someone before me who appointed a Khalifa. So if I appoint a Khalifa for you, then I'm not the first one to do this. There's someone who's better than me. Abu Bakr, he appointed a Khalifa. And if I don't appoint a Khalifa, if I don't nominate any person, then also there's someone who's better than me and who did not nominate any person. That is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's showing us that there's no specific way, that the Muslims, they should find the best way to choose their leader. That is the president. Well, what about the institutions? What about the committees? What about we're going even on a trip? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us, if 3 people are going in travel, they should make one of them as an Amir, as in the authentic hadith. Why? Because always when there's a leader, it is protection for the group from discord and disunity and division. So when they agree on a leader, there will be times in which we must have a decision. And we cannot have 2 people. If we have a problem and now the Muslims are fighting, everyone wants to take a decision. But if they already have a leader, an Amir, who was agreed upon, then he will take the decision. They have to follow as long as it does not contradict the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's the importance of leadership in Islam. So we have to have a leader in every position, in every place, or every organization. We have to have a leader. How do we choose that leader? Well, now one of the ways is election. That's part of democracy. So democracy is not completely against Islam. Unfortunately, we have some sheikhs, scholars, they wrote books. Democracy is kufr. If you believe in democracy, this is kufr. If you accept democracy, is kufr. Books, they wrote books on this. And I met people who have this belief. So democracy is not all bad, right? There are some aspects in democracy which completely agrees with Islam, right? That there should not be someone who imposes his will on people, that people should be equal. Well, that's what Islam calls for. But when they, for example, gather in their parliament or congress or senate or whatever, and let us vote for same-sex marriage. And the majority agree. Well, here we say no. We absolutely don't vote for something that Allah already gave us the ruling for. If we do this, then we're just foolish and we're not Muslims. We're just showing that we know better. So when there's something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned clear cut in the Quran or our beloved sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the Sunnah, then there's no voting on it. Otherwise, yes, we can have voting, we can have parliament or shura, call it whatever you want. So we need to know, dear brothers and sisters, especially our youth, that we as Muslims, we don't reject everything that these people are doing. We don't reject everything, the parliaments, the elections, the democracy in general. We don't reject everything. No, we take, there are a lot of things in common. Okay? That's a very important point in your interactions with people and in your da'wah to others. When the Sahaba, they knew about Sayyidina Abu Bakr's nomination to Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, one of them, he came and he was complaining. One of the migrants, he came to Sayyidina Abu Bakr, he was complaining. He said, you know Umar is very strict. It's very strict, but with the truth. Sayyidina Umar was strict, but with the truth. He never violated anyone's right. And we will see amazing stories and incidents by Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu. We will see how he will submit to the statement or to the opinion of a lady, a woman, who disagreed with him among all of the Sahaba. And at the end of the meeting, he said the woman was right and Umar was wrong. So he's a man of truth, radiallahu anhu. He's known for his justice. But he's strict when it comes to Islamic rulings. He's strict against himself and against his family more than anyone else. So this person, he came and he said, what will you, already Umar is he's very strict. So what if when he will become the leader and the Amir on us, he will be even more strict and maybe a little bit harsh. What will you tell Allah if you meet him? So he's like trying to frighten Sayyiduna Abu Bakr. What will you say to Allah when you meet him? If he asks you why you put Umar, why you nominated Umar, then he said, Sayyidina Abu Bakr said, let me sit, help me to sit. So he was lying down on his deathbed, radiallahu anhu. He said, let me sit. He said, Abillahi tafraquni, you're frightening me by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If I meet him, I will say, oh Allah, I nominated or I assigned the best of them to you, to rule over them. Or the best of your people. اسْتَخْلَفْتُ عَلَيْهِمْ خَيْرَ أَهْلِكَ. Your people, the people of Allah are the people of the Quran, as the hadith mentions, right? So he said, I would say, oh Allah, I chose the best of your people to lead them. So we see also in some narrations, Sayyidina Abu Bakr, he consulted the major Sahaba of the migrants and the Ansar. This is the Senate and the Congress, right? The major Sahaba, the Muhajirin and the Ansar, the people, the leaders of the community. Those are the congressmen and senators. These are, right? Ulul albab, ulul al-afham, ulul uqul. Those are the leaders of the community, right? So he consulted them. And he called on Abdurrahman bin Auf and he told him, tell me about Umar. He said, Whatever you ask me, you know better. He said, by Allah, I have a better opinion regarding him than you. So it means he approved him. Then he asked Sayyidina Uthman radiallahu anhu. Then he said, I know that his interior is better than his exterior. Means he has great intentions. And there's no one among us who's similar to him. Who's saying this? Sayyidina Uthman radiallahu anhu. So this is the humbleness of the Sahaba. They acknowledged everyone's status and qualifications. And he asked many of the Sahaba, so they all agreed with him. And Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he, in some narrations, he looked at the people, and Sayyida Asma bint Umays radiallahu anha, she was holding him, she was one of his wives, and he said, do you accept the one that I assigned to rule you? By Allah, I did not have any negligence, or I did my best. By Allah, I did my best. And I did not put someone who's a relative to me. I did not put someone who's related to me by blood. No, I'm putting someone who's qualified. Same thing Sayyidina Umar did when he assigned 6 people to consult among them. He did not put Sayyiduna Abdullah bin Umar, his son, who was a very qualified person. He did not put him as someone of the 6, but he put him like someone supervisor. Like, what do they say now in the elections? Someone who's observing, proctor, inspector. So someone who's just someone who's observing the process, the consultation process or the election process, if you will. So he said, I have chosen Umar ibn Khattab, so listen to him and obey him. So they said, we will listen and we will obey. And we'll finish with this hadith narrated by Imam ibn Sa'd in his Tabaqat, that Sayyiduna Abu Bakr, when he was on his deathbed, he told Sayyidina Uthman radiallahu anhu to bring something to write on, so that he will write and nominate the person to be the Khalifa. So he will write the name of someone, but is he imposing it? This is nomination. I think this is the best word. This is nomination. So he told him, get me something. So when he came, Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he lost his consciousness. And you know, in the death time, sometimes the person loses his consciousness, then gain it back until then the soul leaves. So Sayyidina Uthman radiallahu anhu, he wrote the name of Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu before Sayyidina Abu Bakr told him anything. Then Sayyidina Abu Bakr gained his consciousness again, and he told him, show me, what did you write? Did you write anything? He said, I wrote Umar ibn Khattab. He said, that is the one that I wanted to tell you to write. And if you wrote your own self, also you are qualified for it. So look what he said. If you wrote your own self, then you are also qualified. So he did not like impose Sayyidina Umar, but he preferred Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu. That is how Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu took over. And inshallah next time, we're not going to make it more late for you. I know I said 15, now it's almost 25. Forgive me. So inshallah, next time inshallah we'll continue on this, and we will see some of the very profound and important advice from Sayyidina Abu Bakr to Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu. And also we will see how Sayyidina Umar started dealing with his ra'iyah, with his people, and how he is asking them for advice and asking them or even begging them to correct his mistakes and to gift him his mistakes. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu and all of the Sahaba, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to follow their footsteps. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us, forgive our parents and sheikhs and those who taught us and those who have rights upon us. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give support and protection to our brothers and sisters who are standing at Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa in Palestine, in Jerusalem, in Al-Quds. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant them support against the aggressors and the occupiers. And may Allah give relief to our brothers and sisters who are suffering everywhere, and from the dictators and the oppressors. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give our brothers and sisters support over those people. Sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad, walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Jazakumullah.